This house belongs to Dorothy.
Mama, I've said everything right.
Make sure to subscribe and like the video. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Thank you for being here, and God bless you.
The probate courtroom did not smell like church. It smelled like floor wax, old paper, and rain on wool coats. Outside, Savannah was wet and warm. Spanish moss hung heavy from the live oaks near the courthouse steps. Dorothy Mae Sullivan sat at the front table in her faded blue Sunday dress. Her pearl earrings were small and plain. Her white gloves rested in her lap. Walter Sullivan sat across from her, neat as a Sunday photograph. Slick white hair, charcoal suit, gold watch, a smile polished by 76 years of practice. Earl sat behind him, twisting his brown hat until the brim bent. Judge Miriam Caldwell looked over her glasses. "Mrs. Sullivan, you brought new evidence?" Dorothy nodded once. "Yes, ma'am." Her voice was soft, but it did not shake. Pastor Henry Bell stood near the back wall. Mrs. Lottie Mae Briggs sat beside him, both hands resting on her cane. She was 94, but her eyes were clear. Walter rose before the tape began. "Your Honor," he said, smooth as butter on a hot biscuit, "my sister is under a strain. She has chased notes in Bibles and old boards in a church basement. I ask the court for compassion." Dorothy turned toward him. For once, she did not lower her eyes. "Walter," she said, "you took Mama's house. You took those widows' rent. You took my name in front of the church." The room went still. "Now sit down and hear what you took from her." Judge Caldwell's face did not move. "Mr. Sullivan, sit." Walter sat. Dorothy pressed play. At first, there was only hiss, then a cough. Then Ruth Sullivan's old voice filled the room. "If this tape is found, then my sons have done what I feared." Walter's smile died before the first full sentence ended. Ruth's voice trembled, but it was clear. "The house on East 37th belongs to Dorothy Mae. I signed the codicil. I hid the copy where only a child of God would kneel and look. Dorothy closed her eyes. Her mother was gone." But her truth had just walked into court. And what would Walter do now, with Mama's voice naming him before the whole room?
The tape kept turning.
Ruth Sullivan spoke of 1969. She spoke of the first widow who came to her porch after her husband died in Vietnam. Miss Alice Walker had 2 children, 1 suitcase, and $11 in her purse. "I told her," Ruth's voice said, "that no woman who buried a husband should sleep in a car." The judge looked down at the ledger. Dorothy had brought every page she could find. Rent receipts, deposit slips, notes in Ruth's hand. Names of widows from church suppers and Veterans Day programs. Mrs. Lottie Mae Briggs leaned forward.
That was true, she said. Ruth cooked for them. Cornbread, collards, chicken neck stew when money got thin.
She washed sheets on Mondays and sang while she hung them. Walter's lawyer shifting in his chair. Walter did not move. The tape clicked. Then Ruth's voice returned. Walter said he would handle the accounts. I trusted him because he was my son and a banker, but the rent never reached the widow's fund. Not all of it, then not any of it. A small sound came from the benches. It was Earl. He had covered his mouth with both hands. Judge Caldwell turned toward him. Mr. Earl Sullivan, do you have something to add? Earl looked at Walter first. Walter's eyes warned him to stay quiet. But guilt had worn Earl down for too many years.
He told me it was just paperwork, Earl whispered. He said Mama didn't understand money.
He said Dorothy didn't deserve the house because she never married and never had children. Dorothy flinched.
Those words had followed her all her life.
Too quiet, too plain, too useful. Always there to type church bulletins, fold funeral programs, and bring sweet tea to sick folks.
But not worthy of a home? Judge Caldwell's pen stopped moving. Mr. Walter Sullivan? She said, is that your position?
Walter stood slowly. Your Honor, families are complicated. Dorothy almost laughed, not because it was funny, because after 30 years of theft, all he had left was a sentence with no backbone. The judge looked at the tape recorder, then at the missing file report, then at the deed copy taken from beneath the church floor. Families may be complicated, she said. Fraud is not. And when the judge asked for final testimony, Dorothy reached into Mama's Bible one more time. What had Ruth hidden there that even Walter never found? Dorothy opened the Bible slowly. It was the same Bible that had fallen open in church, the same one Walter had called worthless. Its leather cover was cracked, and the pages smelled faintly of dust, lilac powder, and old hymnals. Inside the back cover was a second fold of paper. Dorothy had not shown it to Walter. She had not even shown it to Earl. Judge Caldwell took it with both hands. The courtroom waited. The paper was Ruth's final codicil. It named Dorothy Mae Sullivan as heir to the house on East 37th Street. It ordered all future rent from the property to support widows in need.
It named Walter and Earl, only to say they were not to manage the funds. Walter's face went gray.
She was angry when she wrote that, he said. Dorothy looked at him. No, she said. Mama was careful. The ruling came before noon. The house belonged to Dorothy. The stolen rent would be referred for civil recovery. The missing courthouse file would be investigated. Walter's bank friends, church friends, and old business friends would all hear the same thing. Not gossip, record. Dorothy did not shout. She did not point. She did not ask the room to pity her. She only stood when the judge said her name, and for the first time in years, the room stood with her. Pastor Bell removed his glasses and wiped his eyes. Mrs. Lottie Mae Briggs whispered, "Ruth, honey, you got home." 1 month later, the porch on East 37th had fresh paint. Not fancy paint, just honest white, with blue shutters like Ruth had always wanted. Dorothy put 3 rocking chairs out front, then 4, then 6. Widows came again. A retired nurse from Macon. A church organist from Thunderbolt. A woman whose husband had sold shrimp down by the river until his heart gave out. Walter passed the house once. He wore the same charcoal suit, the same gold watch, the same polished shoes. But no one crossed the street to greet him. His money was still there. His name was not. Dorothy watched him from the porch and felt no joy in his loneliness, only peace. She poured sweet tea into a glass and set it beside Mrs. Lottie Mae. Then she looked at Mama's Bible on the table. Some truths arrive folded small, but once opened, they can shelter a whole house. And in Savannah, under the live oaks, Dorothy finally understood what Mama had been saving for her. Not just a home, a purpose. Dorothy did not win because she was loud. She won because she kept listening when everyone told her to be quiet. She followed the Bible, the floorboards, the records, and finally, her mother's voice. That house became Ruth's promise in living color. A porch light for women who had nowhere else to go. And Walter learned the one lesson no banker can escape. Money may buy silence for a season, but it cannot buy back a good name. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and stay with us. Part 1 of our new series drops Friday, and it begins with a locked cedar chest, a missing wedding ring, and a daughter who hears fathers where no voice should be. As I grew up and learned, I found myself drawn to a strange energy, a kind of vibration that carried a sound where no sound should be.